With Donald Trump potentially returning to office, many Americans are wondering, what will happen to the legal cases against him? Recent election results have left a major question hanging in the air. Could all of Trump's legal troubles simply disappear if he steps back into the Oval Office? It's a question with profound implications not only for Trump but for the entire U.S. legal system. For months, prosecutors, pundits, and the public have speculated on the future of his multiple indictments. Now, a top prosecutor's insights on the possible outcomes are raising even more pressing questions. In this video, we'll dive deep into the legal landscape awaiting Trump if he reclaims the presidency, explore how federal and state cases differ in their resilience against presidential influence, and what mechanisms Trump might exploit to quash charges. From the powers of the Attorney General to state-level legal tactics, we'll uncover the specific strategies that could either delay justice indefinitely or hold him accountable despite a potential return to presidential power. As the stakes rise, it's crucial for the American public to understand the legal escape routes Trump could take and the impact of such a maneuver on American democracy. Federal cases, a built-in advantage? Under the U.S. legal system, federal cases are subject to the influence of the sitting president, a reality that could work heavily in Trump's favor. If he were to regain office, Trump would have the authority to appoint an attorney general aligned with his interests, who could potentially interfere with ongoing investigations or outright dismiss charges. Let's break down the federal cases he's currently facing and how they could be affected. The power of the presidential appointment. First, consider Trump's ability to select an attorney general. In theory, a new attorney general could issue directives to halt any active cases against him. This is the crux of the federal case's vulnerability to presidential influence. With such power, Trump could dismantle a substantial portion of his legal threats. It's a move that might raise ethical red flags, but it is technically within the scope of his authority, a fact that Glenn Kirshner, a top prosecutor, pointedly highlights. In Kirshner's analysis, this kind of action could set a dangerous precedent. If Trump were to normalize using presidential authority to subvert legal accountability, it would effectively communicate that the highest office in the land operates above the law, undermining a foundational principle of American democracy. The election interference case in D.C. One of Trump's most notable federal cases involves alleged election interference, for which he faces 4 felony counts in Washington, D.C. overseen by Judge Tanya Chutkan. This case directly challenges Trump's actions in connection to the 2020 election. If he resumes presidential duties, this case could be one of the first to come under pressure. Kirshner contends that if Judge Chutkan's rulings stand after scrutiny by the Supreme Court, the case could proceed. However, with a Trump-aligned Department of Justice, DOJ, any ongoing trial could be immediately quashed by the stroke of an attorney general's pen, leaving American citizens to watch as accountability is stalled, possibly indefinitely. The Espionage Act case in Florida. Another case on Trump's docket involves accusations under the Espionage Act. This one, based in Florida, presents unique challenges. Trump is accused of mishandling classified documents, storing them at his Mar-a-Lago estate, and obstructing justice by refusing their return. With Judge Aileen Cannon, a Trump appointee, presiding, there is widespread concern about potential bias, as many speculate her rulings may already lean in Trump's favor. Currently, the case is on appeal, and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals could reinstate it. However, even if it returns to trial, Kirshner points out that a Trump-controlled DOJ could promptly dismiss the case. This paints a bleak picture for those who hope to see Trump held accountable for alleged violations of the Espionage Act. State cases. A different set of rules. Federal cases might be within Trump's reach, but state cases present an entirely different challenge. The president has no authority over state judicial processes, a distinction that holds significant weight in Trump's legal prospects. The 2 prominent state cases against Trump are in New York and Georgia, involving allegations of financial misconduct and election interference, respectively. The New York financial fraud case. The New York case involves allegations of fraud within the Trump Organization, accusing him of manipulating property values to gain financial advantages. If convicted, Trump could face severe penalties. Judge Juan Merchan, overseeing the case, must first determine whether the charges withstand the Supreme Court's presidential immunity precedent. If he rules that they do, Trump's defense team will likely appeal, which could stall the case. Yet even as the case climbs through appeals, it remains a state matter, and one Trump has limited ability to derail. If Trump wins the presidency, this case could effectively pause due to a DOJ policy that limits prosecutions of sitting presidents. Yet once out of office, Trump would still face consequences, regardless of the length of his presidential term. The Georgia RICO case. In Georgia, Trump faces serious charges under the Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations RICO Act. This case is particularly significant as it implicates not only Trump but also multiple co-defendants in an alleged attempt to overturn the 2020 election results. District Attorney Fani Willis, who has championed this case, is preparing for a lengthy legal battle. Should Trump become president again, his case might pause, but the RICO case could still proceed against his co-defendants. Unlike federal cases, Trump's pardon power wouldn't apply here. In a worst-case scenario for Trump, a conviction for his associates could still lead to serious reputational harm and potential testimonies that weaken his defense. Yet Kirshner raises another troubling possibility. Could Trump abuse presidential powers to try to influence state matters? An attempt to bend the rules. Military interference. For those questioning the extent of Trump's ambitions, Kirshner's analysis raises an unsettling thought. Trump has previously suggested he would use military force to pursue political adversaries. Could he attempt to leverage this authority against state prosecutions? Theoretically, it seems far-fetched. However, it's a notion Trump has publicly entertained. Such a move would plunge the nation into a constitutional crisis, with Trump seemingly willing to test the limits of presidential power to a previously unimaginable degree. This suggestion highlights just how perilous the current political landscape has become and the alarming prospects that await should Trump find a way to sidestep the judicial process. The broader implications for democracy. This legal quagmire surrounding Trump's cases isn't just a matter of one individual's fate. Allowing a president to evade justice sets a dangerous precedent. If Trump can eliminate charges through sheer political power, what does that mean for future presidents? Will America witness a decline in the accountability that defines a functional democracy? The normalization of such power maneuvers would erode public trust and encourage future leaders to exploit their office to avoid legal consequences. It's a chilling possibility, and one that Kirshner believes would weaken the very fabric of American democracy. As Trump's legal battles unfold, the American public faces an unprecedented moment. The potential for Trump to evade charges raises deep concerns about the future of the U.S. judicial system and the integrity of democratic norms. Yet there is hope that state-level cases and a vigilant judiciary could prevail in holding Trump accountable, regardless of his political position. For citizens watching closely, Kirshner's message is clear. Now is not the time for disengagement. As Vice President Kamala Harris recently urged in her concession speech, this is the time to roll up our sleeves and stand firm. The future of accountability in American politics depends on it. With the stakes this high, the battle for justice is far from over.